This video is about how to choose a roofer. In the previous video, I talked about how statistically the chances are high that at some point during your home ownership, you're going to need the services of a roofer. And then I told you what the steps were that you should follow before you even call a roofer. In this video, I'm going to give you some things that you should look for in every roofer that you interview. This is a list of criteria and questions that you can ask the roofer either on the phone or in the interview process. So if you want a PDF of these criteria, along with a list of the questions to ask the roofers, leave a comment down below and we'll send you one for free. Let's jump right in. Number one, is the roofing contractor insured? Now, just because a contractor says that he's fully insured doesn't mean that he has all the insurance necessary to protect you if something happens. Maybe he has the insurance necessary to protect him, but not you. The contractor should have general liability insurance because that protects you if something on your property gets damaged. And the contractor should have workers' comp insurance because this protects you in case someone gets injured on your property. At a minimum, anyone that's going to be on your roof or on your property should be covered with workers' comp insurance. So that means the actual roofing contractor and any of his employees or any of the subcontractors that he's going to have on your property. Do not consider hiring a roofer who says he'll sign a liability waiver, which he'll try to convince you releases you from liability if someone gets injured on your property. The other thing is you want proof that the contractor is insured. So what you want to do is you want to ask to see copies of his insurance certificates for each type of insurance that he has. But don't accept a paper copy or an electronic copy sent to you from the roofer. What you want to do is tell the roofer to have his insurance agent email you a copy of the certificate. This protects you against fraud and from receiving counterfeit certificates. Next, is the contractor licensed in the area in which you live? Now, a contractor may have come in from out of town and may not be licensed in your jurisdiction, even though he may be licensed somewhere else. So if the contractor is not licensed, more than likely, he's going to not be able to pull the permit for the work. That would mean that he's going to ask you to pull a permit, which is a big red flag. Or he might do the work without a permit at all, which could put you in a pretty bad position when you try to sell your house. Next, does the roofer expect any money up front? See, this is one of the major ways that homeowners get scammed by contractors because they're trusting that the contractor is going to do the work that the homeowner gives the contractor a deposit for. Then the contractor never shows up to do the work. Basically, he took the money and ran. So what I recommend is that if your contractor is asking for a deposit, only give it to him once the material has arrived at your property. Then, if the contractor flakes out and doesn't show up to do the work, at least you have material on site that you've purchased and you can hire someone else to do the labor. So we've got another video that discusses this topic in much more detail, and we're going to link to that right up here. Next, is the roofer local? Well, this is important for a couple of reasons. Number one, if the roofer's not local, you don't have a way to talk to people in your community about that roofer. Number two, and more importantly, if you use a roofer from a different city or a different state, if a problem shows up with the work, how are you going to get that roofer to come back to your state just to fix that one problem? Next, does the roofer have a contract for you to sign? This is actually a very important means of protection for you. If the roofer wants you to sign the estimate and there's no terms and conditions that govern the expectations of both parties, that's a big red flag. Now, you might perceive that the roofer's contract is set up for his protection, and you'd be partially correct, but it also dictates his business practices with regards to the project that he's doing for you. So even if you feel like a roofer's contract is weighted substantially in his favor, it still gives you the legal protections you need if something goes wrong. And speaking of contracts, you should make sure that the payment schedule is clearly stated in the contract. Now, in most cases, a deposit's going to be required before the job. Some states dictate the maximum percentage amount that the deposit can be. Some states dictate when the deposit can be collected. But you should almost always expect to have to pay a deposit to get the project started. And then usually for a roofing project, the final payment is due in full once the work is complete. Now, I've read comments on our YouTube videos from homeowners who've said that they've tried to specify their own terms that they wanted written into a contract. Well, I think that if you do that, you're going to be challenged to find a roofer who's going to want to work with you. In my opinion, the best thing to do is read through the roofer's contracts and find the one that most closely aligns with how you want the project to proceed rather than try to get the roofer to change his contract. Next, if your project is part of an insurance claim, will the roofer give you a scope of work and estimate, or does he just want to see your insurance paperwork? So in my opinion, if a roofer doesn't want to provide you with a scope of work that he proposes to do on your house along with an estimate for the cost of that work, and he only wants you to give him the insurance paperwork, that's a big red flag. Now, we've got another video that explains why you should not just hand over your insurance paperwork to the roofer, and we're going to link to that right here. Now, you may have noticed that in this whole process so far, you haven't even had your roof inspected yet. I actually think it's a good idea to make the inspection part of the interview. Why? Because that way you can see how the roofers approach that part of the process. Are they taking photos and videos? Are they going to create a report for you and possibly a report for your insurance company? Are all of the roofers coming to the same conclusion about your roof? If not, why are there differences in their opinions? Are they asking you questions about your roof and about what you want to do if you need to replace it or repair it? Do they seem genuinely interested in helping you as a person and a fellow human being, or do they just seem interested in making a sale? Now, one quick tip though, if you're going to have multiple roofers inspect your roof, ask them not to circle any hail damage with chalk if you think you might end up filing an insurance claim. Because if each hail hit has multiple chalk circles around it, all that does is make the adjuster's job more challenging. Right, adjusters? So all of this is going to give you the information that you need to help you decide who you want to hire. It's going to help you see who's more professional, who's more credible. Now, I know it may seem like a lot of trouble to do all this with multiple roofers, and it's going to be tempting to just hire the first guy that knocks on your door, but I want to emphasize how expensive a roof replacement is and ask, if you or a loved one had a major health problem, would you hire the first doctor that you found? So remember, if you want a PDF of these criteria along with the list of questions to ask the roofers, leave a comment down below and we'll send you one for free. In the next video, I'm going to explain how to evaluate the proposals that you've received from the contractors and choose a roofer that's right for your project. Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Thanks for that. Now, I really think that you're going to like this video right here, so give this one a click. Until our next video, I'm Tracy Bookman, owner of Homestead Roofing.